Darren Goldstein.
This is Katie Finneran,
and
we're watching the Broadway.com show.
Welcome to the Broadway.com show, your weekly guide to everything happening on the Great White Way, or as we like to think of it, the office that's always alive with the sound of music. Let's get started with the news. What's the buzz, Damien?
OMG, I have the biggest news for you. Spotted in New York City preparing for her Broadway debut is none other than Bea. That's right, Blair Waldorf herself, Leighton Meester, will call the Longacre home this spring as she takes on the role of Curly's wife in Of Mice and Men, joining James Franco and Chris O'Dowd. There's just one question that remains. What does S think of Bea building her cred on the Great White Way? XOXO.
Helen Sinclair is ready for her Broadway bow. Three-time Tony nominee Marin Mazzie has won the coveted role of the Don't Speak diva in the main stem debut of Bullets Over Broadway. Woody Allen and director Susan Stroman deserve a standing ovation for choosing an actual stage star to portray their over-the-top leading lady. Mazzie and co-stars Zach Braff, Betsy Wolfe, and Nick Cordero will take the stage at the St. James Theater beginning March 11th.
Moss Hart's life story is so interesting that it takes 2 Tony nominees to tell it. Cinderella's Prince Santino Fontana and Monk himself, Tony Shalhoub, will split the role of the iconic writer in Lincoln Center Theater's new play based on Hart's best-selling memoir, Act 1. The play focuses on how Hart rose from the ashes of poverty into one of the greatest directors and writers of his time, creating classics such as You Can't Take It With You and The Man Who Came to Dinner. The curtain goes up on Act 1 on March 20th.
Sutton Foster, you remember the talented gal who snagged 2 Tony Awards, then hit it big on the small screen with a bunch of ballerinas? Not only is she back on Broadway in Violet this spring, but she's also giving the small screen another go with the TV Land pilot Younger by Sex and the City creator Darren Star. Foster will play a 40-something mom who poses as a 20-something to get a job at a New York publishing company. Wait, New York? The show shoots in New York? As long as Sutton stays within a 15-mile radius of the Great White Way, we're cool.
Hey, I'm Andy Mientus, and you're watching the Broadway.com show.
This week, we got to meet the cast of John Patrick Shanley's Outside Mullingar as they took a break from rehearsals. The new rom-com centers on a couple of socially awkward, lovelorn misfits who have spent their whole lives on neighboring cow farms in rural Ireland. As we tried to imagine Deborah Messing driving a tractor, one question came to mind. How would the Mullingar cast rate as farmers?
Well, they're null and void, frankly.
I have farmed in Ireland. Most of my relations are farmers, so it's nothing new to me.
I'd like you to know that I spent several summers in my adolescence during the haying season on my family's farm in County Longford. So I have a shred of credential.
0. Actually, I give myself less credit than I should because I grew up in Rhode Island and I live next to a farm. I feel a kinship to outside, even though I choose never to go outside.
I have a very nice relationship with cows as long as they ask nothing from me.
The Sound of Music Live gets 2 huge thumbs up. Hear us out. The show got huge ratings for NBC, raking in 18.5 million viewers. That means 18.5 million Americans sat down and actually watched a Broadway musical. 18.5 million Americans now know what a goddess Laura Benanti is, and 18.5 million Americans got to see Audra McDonald kill it with Climb Every Mountain. Now, thanks to those 18.5 million Americans, NBC is promising more live musicals on TV, and that is definitely one of our favorite things.
Thumbs down to the Grammy nominators, who dropped coal in the stockings of many record producers this week, choosing to only nominate 3 albums in the category of Best Musical Theater Album. Congrats to you, Kinky Boots, Matilda, and Motown the Musical. But gee, we are really feeling your pain, Pippin, Annie, Cinderella, Hands on a Hard Body, First Date, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, and all the rest of you.
Our tweet of the week comes from Broadway.com Audience Choice Award winner Jeremy Jordan, who wrote, "An unemployed actor at 1 a.m, reading scripts, watching SportsCenter, eating ice cream. You think Christian Bale ever had nights like this?" Since Jeremy starred in a smashing performance of Hit List and in HBO documentary 6 by Sondheim the same evening this week, perhaps it's Bale wishing he had nights like the Tony nominee. Follow him at Jeremy M. Jordan.
In our last Smackdown, we asked you to choose between 2 beloved revivals perfect for Bette Midler, Hello Dolly or Mame. The results are in, and it was a tie. Come on, Bet. The people have spoken, and they think you'd be divine in either one. In this week's SmackDown, we turn our attention to 2 TV stars newly cast for roles on The Great White Way. Fran Drescher, who will join Cinderella as the cruel stepmother, and Annie Potts, who will play an acrobatic granny in Pippin. So, which star are you most excited to see on Broadway? The nanny named Fran or Designing Women's Mary Jo? Tweet your vote to @BroadwayCom with the hashtag #BWaySmackdown and tune in next week for the winner.
Aaron Tveit is back on Broadway, or was for one night in the audience. This week, the Broadway.com fave took a trip to Lincoln Center Theater's Macbeth to cheer on his Graceland bud Daniel Sunjata, who plays Macduff. Check out our exclusive Hot Shot by Caitlin McNaney of Aaron, Daniel, and their TV co-stars Vanessa Ferlito and Manny Montana. And get spooked yourself at Macbeth at the Vivian Beaumont Theater, now through January 12th.
Hi, I'm Bryce Pinkham, and you are watching the Broadway.com show.
Our star of the week is the undeniably talented, beautiful, and funny Laura Benanti, who made the Baroness a fully realized rival for the affections of Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music Live. Between her voice, costumes, and those takes to the camera, we were seriously torn between rooting for Maria or... Actually, we weren't torn. Totally Team Elsa. Hey, NBC, how about next year we do My Fair Lady with Laura as Eliza Doolittle? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Congrats, Laura. You're our star of the week.
That's it for another episode of the Broadway.com show. We'll leave you with Jeremy Jordan singing Caught in the Storm from the New York City premiere of the fake Smash musical hit list at 54 Below. See you guys next week.
I'm caught in the storm, caught in the rain, caught in the rush that hides his pain. I'm ready to drown, it's coming down, but I feel so let me go, just walk away. If you love someone, you never let them stay. Caught in the storm.